morning. So I thought it was a very interesting session this morning, learning about some of the updates through the local perspective from Morocco with some of the delegates we had there, and the national perspective and some of the initiatives around this digital Morocco moving forward. I think then we heard some presentations from CIB, from Simon Fisher, and the practitioner launch as well, and Yansar providing some context around this e-permits, and of course now we move into the next session, which is around the future. You'll be glad to hear that there is going to be a moderator that's not me on this next session. She doesn't need a lot of introduction, because a lot of people you will be fully aware of Susan Keenliside. She asked to be introduced as the buildingSMART Fellow, because you've had many roles. She really helped develop the buildingSMART Awards program, and we're very indebted to the contributions that she has had. So I'm going to hand over to the session to Susan, and yeah, look forward to the next session. Thank you very much.
Do I need the clicker? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be up here to present or to moderate the session called The Future. So specifically, we are going to focus in on the future of sustainable energy, being able to harness openBIM in this transition. We know that buildingSMART has a very exciting future, but we also know that industry is going through a radical shift that encompasses this energy transition, a growing dependence on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robust data utilization. Today, we are going to hear from 4 speakers that are forward-thinking within their organizations and are poised to take leadership roles in this area. And they're going to bring their vision of the future into reality, discovering the potential of IFC5, APIs, and the energy transition. And to begin, we're going to hear some insights from a local expert. I'd like to introduce Ms. Meriem Lhammoumi. Please come on up. Ms. Meriem is a senior project manager at JESA. She's the vice chair of the Morocco Future Energy Leaders and has the role of global FEL in the World Energy Council. And she also is a certified energy transformation expert from RENAC, which is in Berlin. So without much ado, please, Meriem.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, everyone, and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Morocco, and happy to see all of you here in Morocco, in Marrakesh. So the agenda of today's presentation will be an introduction of buildingSMART future, the role of AI, machine learning, and data utilization. And also we're gonna have like an overview about the energy transition, and talking about the Morocco energy transition and strategies about the renewable energy and also the hydrogen in Morocco and the vision of Moroccan country. We're gonna see a little bit about the openBIM standards and the API unlocking potential in energy transition and the future of sustainability development. And I just choose for you a case study or company case study is about JESA, where I'm working actually, and discussing about what we are doing right now and what we are preparing for the future. So right now we are entering an exciting new phase for buildingSMART, driven by rapid development of standards and also the emerging technologies. We are talking about API, about artificial intelligence, and also machine learning. These innovations are reshaping the construction and also the industry, for building industry, and enable more seamless data integration and offering powerful tools for us as people who are doing projects in general to improve sustainability. As we move forward, the energy transition is becoming central of how we design, build, and operate buildings. Today's presentation will explore how buildingSMART is addressing these changes, how AI and machine learning can drive energy optimization. Morocco is well positioned. We are in the center of the opening of Africa, and also with very, very well positioned for with the European countries. So Morocco is well positioned to lead these areas, especially with the vision and the strategy that we will talk about it later on, with an ambitious renewable energy transition, and also to leverage the openBIM and all these new technologies to drive the energy transition and set a new standard for sustainability and sustainable development. Here, just to give you an overview about some explanation and some definition, as we look at how the construction and energy management industries are evolving, we see a growing reliance on artificial intelligence and machine learning. AI is becoming a critical tool for producing and predicting energy usage. Actually, most of projects that we are doing right now and programs, we are trying to have energy management system, and AI can be the best tool, one of the best tools to use for prediction of what can happen and avoid for all maintenance and also all the problems that we can have in the future. The machine learning plays a key role here. It analyzes real-time data, and this is one of the key elements that we are requiring all the time for our, all the documents that we are requiring for all the vendors and also the contractors, that we're gonna need to have systems where we can analyze real-time data, learn from it, and predict energy demand patterns. At the heart of this transformation is data. So we are increasingly relying on robust data sets to make informed decision and making decision. API are essential in this process because they enable different systems to communicate and share data seamlessly. So at the moment, if we would like to go and to rely between all these technologies and the energy transition, we're gonna need to know more about what is the energy transition focus on and objectives. The energy transition is essential in the fight of climate change, as you know. So different countries are working on it, and also different associations where I'm working in as Morocco Energy Leaders, and also in the World Energy Council. And it requires a really complete and complex overhaul of our current system. We need to master the system, and it's not just about changing or replacing the fuel by the renewable energy, but it's really about the fundamental, and also to use the real technologies that can use for helping us to be able to do a transformation and energy transition in all sectors. So this shift extends for beyond energy production. As I said, it's not about the fuel only, touching industries, agriculture, and also all urban buildings and also infrastructure of the countries. To make this transition effective, we need to reduce carbon emission quickly. And here, the technologies and BIM can help us, openBIM can help us on this with the standards and new standards of IFC. And the impact of the construction industry in the sector account for the large shape of global carbon emissions, making it crucial for these industries to adopt sustainable practices. Reducing emission in construction is not just a matter of environmental responsibility. It's an urgent priority for meeting global climate goals and change. So we are right now trying, even with our clients, and to find the best solutions about the carbon emission by transforming all the industries or even mining with new solutions that can help us on real time and at the same time to reduce the carbon emission. Through open standard like I've seen, in my point of view, is that the front with this technology, it can enable us for construction industry and energy transition by integrating renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and optimization of the energy too. And it can be also a pillar to support low carbon technologies. So buildingSMART helps the industry enhance sustainability. And this is something that we should really focus on and trust on it and try to figure out how to implement it to all our projects and programs. As the adoption of these standards, IFC or standards and in openBIM in general, isn't just about the present, but it's also about the future and the way for the future where buildings are smarter and more efficient. I will go directly to the Morocco energy transition to give you an overview about Morocco and where we are positioned right now. I think that all of you knows about the goals and sustainable development goals. We are talking about 17. I will focus in this about for the 7, if you can see there. The 7th one is the affordable and clean energy. The 9th one is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And the 11th one is sustainable cities and communities. I think that what we are talking about, all of us today, is related to these 3 sustainable goals. It doesn't mean that the others are not important, but all of them, the 17, are important, but our focus can be in these 3 ones. Talking about Morocco and the national context, energy context, we have a commitment to achieving the energy transition to renewable energy. For Morocco, we are talking, when we are talking about renewable energy, we are talking about hydraulic systems or hydraulic power plants, wind power plants, and solar plants, PV with PV solar plants. So for at the moment, Morocco's strategy on renewable energy is strengthened by implementing and integration into the national electrical mix. And here we have commitment of 53% of renewable energy achieved by 2030. That will be increased to 60 as per the COP28 last year. So, and the government, we are trying right now to reach out for more than 4 gigawatts. At the moment, we are 4 gigawatts in Morocco, and the supplement of 2 gigawatts are ongoing as projects, and others are related to other sectors that I will talk about later on, are ongoing for application and in projects. The government announced the acceleration of this transition toward renewable energy to optimize 60% by 2030, as said. So Morocco has set really an ambitious target for the renewable energy and also for the green hydrogen. So these are 2 sectors that we are really focusing on. And when we are talking about the green hydrogen, of course, the green is coming from the renewable energy, so impacting largely about the green energy resources as wind and solar too, and the green hydrogen. So about an overview about the strategy for green hydrogen in Morocco, we are having three axes, main axes and dates. So this strategic axis transists into a phased action plan aimed to 2050. And here, focusing on cost reduction throughout the value chain of green hydrogen sector and its derivative. Just to let you know, lately in 2024, we had the offer of hydrogen already announced by our government, and that is ongoing of application and can be shared with you, of course, with all of you if you need all the information about it later on. They, for this access, they also involved implementing necessary measures for local industrial integration of the hydrogen sector, including the training of human resources and also the transfer of expertise to develop Moroccan skills, of course. So as a summary, Morocco is positioned itself as a true pioneer in renewable energy and hydrogen production, and also for export. So under a visionary and of our royal framework, thus the kingdom is actively involved in deploying new sources of clean energy, green hydrogen, which is a key to green transition of energy and industrial sector. In our case, with the projects that we are having right now with our client OCP, and as you know, at the lately, we had some very interesting projects that we are ongoing in Tarfaya for green hydrogen production of 1 million ton of ammonia, green ammonia, and also other projects in Jorflasfar, and also for the transformation of the mining and other industries who will need the hydrogen production. And these are some other projects ongoing. For all of these projects, we're gonna really need help of experts like you to give the best solutions in data data analysis, and also the optimization of all energy efficiency and having an efficient energy in the management of energy in general. So here, let's begin a little bit talking about for the introduction of IFC, just as I'm seeing the IFC and the need of IFC in this sector as energy transition. So, which stands for Industry Foundation Classes. It is a significant advancement in interoperability and especially designed to enhance communication between various building systems, including energy system. We are talking most of the time about the buildings. From our side, we are talking about the buildings and process buildings. So if we are capable to implement for the buildings and we can enter in the new area as process buildings, this will be very helpful for us as projects, and I'm working as project manager, and to be able to implement it for optimization and also to help us in the operation later on. So this improvement allows for better data sharing and collaboration among all stakeholders involved in the construction and operation of buildings. So actually, it plays a vital role in the energy transition. It supports energy modeling and promotes energy efficiency design by enabling the seamless integration of renewable energy sources and energy management system. This capability not only optimizes the energy usage of building, but also aligns with our sustainable goal. So here, another critical component is the APIs that it allows for real-time monitoring of energy consumption, facilitating seamless data exchanges, and between buildings management or process building management system and energy control system. And this connectivity ensures that we can make informed decisions and making decisions at real time based on current energy usage and optimize system accordingly. So these are some objectives that we are looking for at the moment, and even in Morocco, with all this optimized like strategy that we are facing, many workshops should be launched to be able to find the best solution for this kind of goals. So I would like to give just like an example. Imagine designing a new energy efficient building where IFC is utilized throughout the design, operations, and also the maintenance phases. So all the life cycle of the project till the maintenance and also the end of the maintenance. By doing so, we can enhance the building sustainability and performance significantly. For instance, integration real-time energy management data through API allows for continuous optimization, ultimately reducing the building carbon footprint. And for the carbon footprint, this is one of the most important elements that all of the companies are trying to find solution by transforming their industries or mining, and also by trying to having like real-time analysis and information about the footprint of the carbon in their systems. Even, for example, for cars or for trucks, for mining, we are trying to find the best solution to be able to analyze and also to have the data of exactly what is the footprint that we do have in each truck. Going to, the future of the sustainable development, here, as we look forward, the convergence of technologies such as AI, machine learning, or openBIM standards promise to reshape the landscape of building and energy management. This integration will allow us to create more efficient systems that optimize energy use and improve sustainability. Focusing on the integration of energy and also digital technologies, we can have like a future where renewable energy sources, digital twin technologies, and also BIM models work together with harmony. So this combination will enable us to design and construct smarter, more energy efficiency buildings, and also can adapt to the changing needs of our environment and society. So we will talk also about the cities, smart cities and sustainable cities. Just to let you know, at the moment, Morocco have like launched different smart and also green cities in different areas. I know that's where I'm living right now in Casablanca, near in Zenata. We do have like a green city, but I don't think that it's smart. So why from the beginning we can't implement both of these, the technology with the aim of the sustainability at the same time, and thinking differently to be able to arrive to our goal together. So for that, we're gonna need like some young professional and local expertise, and why not external expertise to help us to transfer knowledge and also to drive this sustainability development and initiatives into Morocco and Africa, of course. So the energy transition and sustainable practices require fresh perspective. We do have like fresh, young, talented people in Morocco, and we can have like experts, using experts from outside and from inside Morocco. So I will go quickly to GESA case study, as I said. Just to let you know, GESA started with 3D BIM. If you know, if you don't know GESA is an engineering company, started in 2010. And we do have like all the, we start from engineering, project management, construction to commissioning of big programs for OCP and other companies as Ma'adin, and at the moment for fertilizer sector. And at the moment, all the projects are using the 3D, and the implementation is BIM is already implemented for the 3D for all projects. For the before going to the future, I would like to add other information that at the moment, GESA are using like 2 concepts, and they already realized these concepts. The first one is optimize the design of a building, or we can say master plan, using AI to generate multiple alternatives, and in that way we can have like an optimized output based on CO2 footprint. And for each option, we had like one case where we have reduced by half of the estimated CO2 output, like an output of the buildings, just following the recommended design. So if we can have this kind of result for all our projects, this will be our best choice to use it from the beginning for all our projects. And this was one of the cases that make GESA think about implementing the openBIM and for the future. So here for the future, GESA actually is currently in the process of establishing and implementing procedures for effective implementation of the new standards of IFC. So here we have Mr. Najib working with us as head of department of GESA in delivery of digitalization, digital delivery, and all the team are working together by choosing one pilot in one program to be able to implement it, and after that to implement into all other projects. So before thanking you, I would like just to tell you a quote that I believe in. The energy transition cannot be achieved through technological innovation only. And internally, we need to think about border innovation. We need to think about other experts and to open up for the others. And more to be more inclusive cooperation by collectively increase our agility for all over the globe, not only in Morocco or Africa, but all the globe, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meriem. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Here you go.
Thank you. It's great to see recognition for the need for this community, for the technical solutions as part of the larger solutions required for a sustainable future. And with that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Léon van Berlo, Technical Director for buildingSMART International. Certainly one that is going to describe a future where it's time for IFC5 to take a big leap and to drive the reliable solutions that buildingSMART provides both through the standards and the services. Léon?
Thank you. So yes, talking about IFC in the future, but the title of the presentation is actually 30 years of IFC, and I wanted to start with the past. In the beginning, when this was just 2D drawings, and we were talking about lines on paper, and we wanted to add some additional meaning to these lines on paper, because we can all see that that those lines are intended to be exchanged as a door, but a computer doesn't have the ability to figure that out. So this is how it started: 2D lines, drawings, but it's just lines on paper. So let's add some additional semantics to this. So if you do that, you don't start with IFC, you start with MFC. Not sure if people notice. I saw some old timers in the room here who were there at the beginning, but Microsoft Foundation classes was actually the start and the inspiration for the industry foundation classes. Introduced in '92, gained widespread use very quickly. So it only made sense in around that time to start with industry foundation classes for our industry. So you see, this is a screenshot from that time. You see IFC building, IFC equipment, IFC site, IFC space. These were actually C++ classes. So I think this is a first logo, industry foundation classes. And again, classes here is the emphasis. Also, foundation is the emphasis, because you can exchange any kind of file. In this case, it was always DWG files, and you should agree on the foundational core classes that you exchanged, but you could add a couple more as well. These days, we would do that in the BSDD, but these original principles were already there. I got these screenshots and pictures from this YouTube video, 1994, The End of Babel. I'm sure many of you have seen it as well. Yeah, does that need an applause? Just for something that does not need an applause is the next slide. Just for your reference, what I was doing in 1994, I was pulling my bicycle face. No. Now, let's move on. So I was asked to do 30 years of IFC in 20 minutes, which is basically impossible, although the timer isn't running, so I might make it. That's helpful. So just high over these actual classes in DWG was even before there was the early version in 1997. So I would say, like, high over, big blocks. This was where the use of the step technology came in. First version in '97, and it kind of grew. We used the step geometry and file formats and even APIs back then as well. Then there was the era of it's only a standard when people use it. So there was a strong focus on getting implementation from software vendors. This is why 2x3 was kind of the first known IFC version that was out there that people got into. Then there was this period of, is it really a standard if it's not ISO? So strong focus on ISO standardization, and then a period of just rapid growth. You've all seen the pictures of the group photo of buildingSMART summits. They went from 10 to 1,000 people relatively quickly in this period. This was also a period of growing government support, growing community, growing technology inputs, but there's always a flip side to growth. So there's also growing challenges on usability, coordination between the different extensions of IFC, maintenance, scalability problems. And there's a strong need in this modern age for new use cases like incremental updates, streaming visualization, etc. And this step technology is quite limiting to do that. So it made me think it's a bit like any political movement that starts very strong in an ideological phase, then has a growth, expansion, institutional phase, like organizational changes, new people come up, and then you have a bit of a deceleration, which is clearly visible in the timeline as well. The steps to a new version take longer and longer every time. And at some point, you've kind of gotten to a point where maintaining the status quo is getting more and more difficult, and you have to go into this transformation phase. I think there's a lot to be said already about this the whole morning. There's so much more going on beyond IFC alone, but specifically IFC is really into this transformation phase. So just to tell you, it's not that we're kicking it off here. This has been started quite a while ago. There's actually small pieces of the puzzle, like the new IDS, the new BSDD, the linked data strategy that we employed on BSDD. These are all small pieces of the puzzle that help grow towards this new IFC5 vision. So if you look at the examples of IFC5 that we have now, you see references to BSDD, you see that there's IDS elements sneaked in there. All of these things that have been happening in the last 3 years are coming together in IFC5. So what is the focus of IFC5? What is the tagline? What is the big message? It is adequate functionality and maximum reliability. As you go back to this growth that we have got, just keep on adding new kinds of use cases, new kind of content in there. It's growing and it's growing. But the more complex it gets, the lower the reliability in the software implementations is. So we have about 300 exceptions now in IFC 4.3, and that is 300 risks of implementing it in a non-reliable way. So IFC 5 needs to be predictable, needs to have maximum reliability. So that indeed has consequences. It means we need to reduce the complexity to improve the reliability. These are like 2 legs in a future vision. You can't have everything and expect everything to work reliable as well. We have to have a strong focus on this reduction of complexity. And by doing that, that is what allows us to also implement these new use cases like incremental updates, like APIs, like cloud, et cetera, et cetera. So who's working on this? We've got many offers of help, but I would say these people are the ones that have had the strongest influence on this. So Greg has been doing this for over 3 years already. He's the one with the first vision a couple years ago, and especially last year, Thomas, David, and Sergey have been committing to this as well. This is a 3-year period. There are quite some interesting things going on behind the scenes already. So not only 3 years of work, but also extensive focus on this strong foundation, rigorous testing. I think we've made about 100 different kinds of IFC5s and then build on top. How does it work with an API? How does it work in infrastructure? How does it work in rail? How does it work this? And then found out that this foundation wasn't as strong as we thought. So had to start over again. I think there's about 100 times that we tried to reinvent IFC5 until we came to a point where we are now that I really think we have a very, very strong base to build upon. So this rigorous testing actually reminded me back on my bicycle phases. It was really rigorous and hard sometimes. So when can you expect it? And this is also going to be very different from previous ones. In the previous versions, there was one big dump. This is it, new version, go to ISO, implement it. The IFC5 will be released one step at a time. So we will be releasing some core elements, resources in this for IFCs like geometry, relations, those kind of things, and a new format, which in this in the examples we have so far is a JSON format. And again, this is the strong foundation that we need to build first, but what we have now has been tried and tested like 100 times already. So I'm actually pretty proud of what is released so far. This really is a strong foundation for future growth and facilitating new use cases. After that, as you obviously are all aware, we're developing all of the other technical stuff like APIs, additional extensions, etc. So there's also things in there like IFC core extensions, giving us the ability to add point clouds, but also requirements like IDS and exchange topics like BCF in one integrated format. But this is further feature. So not sure if some of you have already noticed, but first examples are already online. We have a hello wall, which is one wall and a space, 2 windows. It's actually one window type that is placed 2 times. And we have an alignment curve with signals that are following the curve on different stations. So these 2 examples are really like almost everything that we need in the core is in there. Reuse of the geometry in the different types, positioning, placement, Everything's in there, even references to the B is the D. You can also already see the direction we want to go with IDS there as well. So I highly recommend, if you're motivated to learn about this, I highly recommend to look at it. It's on our GitHub page. It has little documentation. We want to stimulate you to actually figure it out. So as I said, I'm very optimistic. I'm actually quite proud of what the examples have become. What the exact timeline will be in these release cycles and incremental updates, nobody really knows. But what we do know is that when it comes, it's definitely going to be the start of a new era. And it's kind of comparable to these big changes, like the change of bicycles in the 1890s. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but around the 1890s, you had bicycles with 2 equal wheels, instead of the velocipede with the 1 big wheel in front. And all of a sudden, women could now also ride a bicycle. This had a major impact on society. Fashion for women got different because they wanted to wear, the dresses didn't really work on a bicycle. They wanted to wear a different kind of clothes. They were going places instead of just staying at home. They were talking to other people. They were talking to other women. And the bicycle with the 2 equal wheels also started to represent equal voting rights for women. So I think this picture is very similar to what we are currently facing with IFC. So I would like to say, let's not fall into the same trap as what the establishment did back then, because they invented a new disease called bicycle face. The idea was, if you ride a bicycle too long, your face kind of gets stuck in that same position. But it was only a disease that women needed to worry about. Men didn't have to worry. They could just go places and ride their bicycle. So, of course, this is one of the first examples of fake news before we knew it. But let's make sure it is up to us as a community. We have about 300, 400 people this week at the summit. It is up to us to lead this change into IFC 5. So I'm pretty sure many of you will like the changes that we are envisioning now and proposing for IFC 5. I'm also pretty sure that some of you will love it equally as I love it, but I'm also sure that some people will hate it. But in the end, this is not a popularity contest. This is about making IFC maximum reliable. So thank you very much for joining us on this journey.
Thank you, Léon. Great job. It's wonderful to see what capability, commitment, and an interest to advance the agenda can do together as a community. Next up, I would like to invite Rodrigo Petrus. Put my eyes on. Rodrigo is a researcher at Petrobras in Brazil. He's a researcher in interoperability, AI, and digital twins, as well as a project manager for openBIM subsea project. Rodrigo, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say today for the audience.
Thank you, Susan. I think the phone is, reading? Okay. It was not sound to me. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. The topic of today's presentation will be the future of sustainability energy, harnessing openBIM in the transition. In the next minutes, we will explore the potential of openBIM in the complex challenges that arise as the energy industry transitions towards sustainability. I'll be presenting the case for adopting openBIM using key examples and also insights from research that show how this approach can be a cornerstone for future projects. We are at a pivotal moment in the industry, and I believe that openBIM has a lot to offer to navigate this transition. Okay. Well, first, to provide some personal context for this presentation, in the past 4 years, I led the openBIM for subsea infrastructure project at Petrobras. This presentation is related to my work in Petrobras. It's not a Petrobras official position, but it is the work that we do now in our research center that we'll explain here. But in this project that we had in Petrobras is, I don't know if everybody's familiar with, but the major oil company, energy company in Brazil, and one of the 5 oil producers in the world. But this work with the subsea infrastructure, in which I had much help from Calvetti, Professor Diego Calvetti from CERTI, and the people from CERTI too that will speak after me. I had this experience that gave me insight into why adopt open standards like IFC. Recently, including a very smart person that just spoke before me, asked why I think that using open standards would be better than to enforce the use of a closed solution to our partners. It's not that he thinks that it would be better, but he was asking my point of view in that. Now, I think that the simplest way to answer this question is to use a simple word that is friction. Because changing internal process and external process, external from our company in our supply chain, cause a lot of friction. If you can reduce the amount of resistance in this change, and sound open standard can do that, you can not only implement a new digital process faster, but it can be the difference between success and failure in this endeavor. So Leon, sorry I didn't answer you that time. I think I reflect more about the issue. Recently, I've been appointed also to a new job that involved leading research focused on interoperability, AI, and digital twins. And my work spans across renewables, decarbonization, and sustainability in general. So this presentation will be focused on the potential future use of openBIM that could address many of the key challenges that we're facing. Well, let's talk about new energy. My country, Brazil, has approximately 85% of its electricity generation matrix coming from renewables. So producing clean energy is not exactly a new thing. But the old ways of doing that, maybe mainly from hydroelectricity, has come to its near full potential. That's where wind farms can still have plenty of space to grow. And that can be also an opportunity for openBIM, because these projects are inherently complex, involving a wide range of stakeholders, from designers, contractors, and engineers, operators. Each of these groups have unique data needs. And traditionally, the lack of a unified approach for that led to significant data silos, which in turn leads to inefficiency and communication breakdowns. However, by adopting openBIM, we can establish a standardized framework that facilitates seamless collaboration across the project's lifecycle. The basics of openBIM, where stakeholders can work in the same standardized data set, allowing them to make decisions based on real-time insights, in my point of view, that would simply improve the efficient cost effectiveness of these projects. Furthermore, by incorporating digital twins, we can enhance monitoring, optimization of these assets over the entire life cycle, from construction to operation decommissioning. openBIM supports it by providing the necessary structure to ensure data integrity and facilitate ongoing analysis. which is essential for optimizing the performance in large-scale energy projects. Another topic, decarbonization. I was explaining there's lots of projects ongoing and new projects in decarbonization. It's a kind of new infrastructure project. I'll talk about specifically one kind of project that is massive CO2 injection. Just for a brief explanation, we have new projects that are still very new in its infancy, that will inject CO2 in reservoirs, in aquifer reservoir, very deep aquifers that will not come out the CO2 when it is injected. These projects have some challenge related to it has to integrate with existing infrastructure, producing infrastructure, CO2 infrastructure that's not only from oil companies, but for the whole industry. And this integration must be while producing or injecting, in this case, in the life cycle. So the challenge of being to have regulation together with adapting the infrastructure, the engineering aspects is a big challenge related to that. So as the industry moves toward decarbonization, we're seeing the rise of this kind of projects like carbon capture, utilization, and storage. These projects are critical for meeting the global reduction goals, but they also come with their own set of challenges, particularly when it comes to ensuring regulatory compliance, since it will be evolve the regulatory compliance within time, and we are in the beginning of that. And managing risks for across the life cycle of the project too. This is where openBIM can offer considerable potential by leveraging digital twins. We can provide a detailed dynamic model of the project that helps carbon from capture to storage. This kind of precise monitoring can help ensure that projects stay compliant with increasingly stringent regulatory requirements we may face. So we must adapt to new requirements while also providing transparency and accountability to stakeholders. The integration of openBIM with digital twins in such projects would allow us to see real-time data on carbon capture, reducing to one of the main risks of the project. When you inject tons of CO2, when to stay where we put it. That's a concept that may be simple, but we are talking about injecting high pressure in reservoir. It may, if you don't control everything, it may extrude through the reservoir. Then we lost all you can lose all the storage that you are putting your efforts to. New technologies, monitoring technologies integrated data, sensors, in this level of integration can support better decision and ensure that decarbonization efforts are both effective and sustainable. So in addition to the technical aspects of energy projects, the importance of health, safety, and environment, that's a word that we use a lot in energy industry, cannot be overstated. The energy sector is inherently risky. Ensuring that safety of both personnel and the environment is always a top priority is another area that the potential of openBIM really shines on it. By integrating risk management with sensor data, we could enhance dynamic barrier management, providing operators and with immediate feedback on the condition of their assets. Digital twins could offer real-time visualization of the asset status, allowing for faster, more informed decisions when responding to potential incidents. The potential here lies in preventing that incidents before they occur. By leveraging data generated by openBIM-enabled digital twins, whether it's monitoring equipment wear or tracking safety barriers, the integration of openBIM with HSE systems could lead to significant improvements in both operational safety and environmental stewardship. That's a point that it's kind of new in study. There are some appliances on that. But imagine we have lots of kind of projects and assets that goes with different management solutions, different asset solutions, and we need to build a solution that can be interchangeable, that we make this effort of dynamic barrier management in real time scalable. So openBIM may be the solution that will help it to foster this solution. Well, now why is it so important to adopt open and neutral standard like openBIM in the energy transition? As projects become larger and more complex, the number of tools, systems, data sources we rely on has increased dramatically. It's not just for energy transition, it's my experience too with large oil projects. It resonates with that too. This leads to what some refer to as the Babel Tower effect. What I'm calling Babel Tower, where data is fragmented across different platforms, making it nearly impossible to achieve the kind of seamless integration that's necessary for efficient project management. The potential of openBIM addresses this challenge by providing a common framework that integrates multiple disciplines into one cohesive system. With openBIM, we can unify the process and create a single source of truth, ensuring that all stakeholders, whether they're engineers, contractors, regulators, are working from the same data set. It costs time of project that is a main concern when thinking energy in the industry. This standardization also paves the way for real-time decision-making. Imagine a scenario where project managers can access up-to-the-minute data on the project's progress, enabling them to make more informed decision, course-correct in real time if necessary. This kind of integration is crucial as the energy sector evolves. To further explore this, the potential of developing a common engineering language, and that's much of my experience when I humbly start 4 years ago with this project. I saw that what we are doing, not just a project of integration, but we had to add the engineering language of our partners, of ourselves, to a standard and make it blend with the standard to get the potential of tools that are already compatible with that. So I may call it a kind of a common engineering language that we're making through open standards like AFC. By using open standards, we create a framework where different teams, from structural engineers to environmental scientists, can work together more effectively. In large infrastructure projects, having a common engineering language simplifies collaboration and allows for better data exchange across disciplines, which is a main concern for large projects. It also reduces the risk of miscommunication and costly errors, which can be detrimental for the outcomes. Looking forward, the potential of openBIM to provide this kind of standardization across the industry is immense. It could streamline workflows, enhance collaboration, and ultimately lead to more successful project completions. In conclusion, the potential for openBIM to shape the future of sustainability in energy is promising. From improving the efficiency and transparency of decarbonization and to enabling real-time decision-making in complex energy infrastructure, openBIM offers a framework that can support the industry's most pressing needs in the moment. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Rodrigo. That was a pleasure to hear your view on the future. So I would like to invite to the stage Mr. Diego Calvetti. Mr. Diego Calvetti is from the CERTI Foundation. He's the invited assistant professor at Porto University and is going to present on interoperability for the energy industry. Mr. Diego.
Thank you. I promise it will be fast. Sorry for that. Now I think you understand I'm here. Can you put the notes here? if I have the notes, I will do this fast, I promise. I'm here to present the openBIM work in progress with CERTI Foundation with some companies from petroleum industry, such as Petrobras. Here's the agenda. Oh. Yes, here's the agenda. I will talk about, something's wrong, but it's okay. I will talk about CERTI Foundation, the openBIM group we are part of, the projects we have with oil and gas, and I will deliver our vision and future perspectives. But first, yes, we are the dinosaurs in the room, because that I was avoiding you to go and ruin that, yes, I don't know why I did that, but maybe I can read your minds. Just to point out, fossil commons don't come from dinosaurs. This is a myth. And truly, from my perspective, I think throwing a meteor in the oil and gas industry is not the best way to achieve a fair energy transition. I think it's a fact. We have many different realities around the world. I should advertise it. Petrobras is working quite a lot, innovate quite a lot, as you saw in the presentation of Rodrigo Petrus, to reduce its footprint. You can check in the QR code. This is a public information. This is not the best, but you can see many actions to Petrobras to reduce its carbon footprint. Very expressive budget. The interoperability transition, it's a long-run project in the oil and gas industry. Daniel Nascimento, Flávio Magno, Casalec, who are here today, have been working on that for many years. It's worth to highlight it. CERTI Foundation is accredited by the Brazilian Agency of Petroleum to produce research and developing the openBIM. Also nice to remember this here. It was in CIB W78 in Luxembourg that I reached Léon, and was saying, oh, there are some crazy and amazing guys working with IFCC to oil and gas industry. Since there, we are continuing work and involved with buildingSMART. This year in Brazil, we had many caipirinhas. No. We conducted a discovery workshop with Petrobras and buildingSMART and us. Our team worked together, and after we went to the BIM Forum conference. That was an outstanding event. Congratulations to our friends from the chapter Brazil. About CERTI. CERTI is an institution of science, technology, and innovation located in Florianópolis, beautiful island. You should visit in the south of Brazil. CERTI has multiple tech parks and laboratory facilities with multiple national and international corporation partnerships, such as the MIT and Fraunhofer. The openBIM at CERTI, I think the pain is the same. The medicine could be IFC, but mainly in the sector, multiple interfaces and the vendor silos are a bottleneck for interoperability. Nowadays, the supply chain is realized the benefits of openBIM, and it is mainly because of you all. It's this large community that are behind the IFC and the BSI that assures trust to these developments. The CERTI openBIM is led by Daniel, and today accounts for more than 40 people working in openBIM innovations. From our colleagues are here today. Yes, our philosophy is to be open. We publish our content in open platforms. I will highlight here 2 projects just to illustrate our work. But firstly, it is mandatory to us to provide reliable information to the increased OPEX in our projects. This first project was that Rodrigo Petrus was talking about. We work in the subsea domain. where we validate the concept of data exchanging using IFC. We develop and adapt the tools for both Petrobras and suppliers. I had to say it succeeds very well. And for that reason, future contracts can securely incorporate openBIM data exchange specifications. Of course, this is a work in progress. We will still continue evolution, have some evolution in our data modules, but I had to say with emphasis, this is now a reality. Next, it is the Certificare, a digital commissioning tool that enables dynamic digital process deployment. It has a very nice web interface, but most importantly, its apps allow digital commission on site, improving the process and avoiding paperwork. I had to say that that is a game changer for suppliers around the world. We have a API IFC based, and the companies can use their own commissioning tools and communicate with the contract owners. And finally, I had to say also good numbers for a tool that is still under development, using in 16 contracts, more than 1,000 users and a large number of commissioned items. Yeah, I think it's solid outcomes and deliverables from this project also. Very fast to talk about our vision. The vision is that to bring logistic integration to the entire supply chain. I believe you are in the good path, and the openBIM a key element to support it. The BSDD is a crucial piece of that puzzle. We start to populate our dictionary there. Thank you, Arthur, for all the support. We will still work on that to populate more and more dictionaries. And finally, the feature we invaded, I had to say this is API is IFC based. That is a key element, and I think in the success we have in our progress, and we will continue on that. And very relevant, the advances in the IFC 5, as we saw Léon saying here. Flávio Magno, our colleague, were in the last General Assembly of Implementers, and you are eager to support this development and being part, because for the oil and gas industry, you can ask for Casalec here. That's very relevant to us to have this API approach, the catalog approach, because the elements are changed between projects, and you should continue have reliable information. To the end, of course, we need that, the energy players to come together to this new domain. And I hope if you cross with some dinosaurs in the room, talk with us, we are good people. Yes, and I did this very fast. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. And carrying along, we have one last speaker for this session. From the InfraBIM world, I would like to invite Ms. Tiina Perttula. Tiina works with Rambo. She is the development manager for InfraBIM, and is also a BSI fellow, chair of the infra domain at BSI. And we're pleased to hear from you how you see the future unfold and what's needed to get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And good afternoon, all. Let me see. So the name of the session is the future. So what we need to do next and what we need in the future. I start with the past. So my past is different what Léon was. So my past is only like 10 months old. So not very old, but it was said that if it's not the ISO standard, it doesn't exist. So 10 months ago, the IFC 4.3 was announced as a ISO or was approved as an ISO standard, and that's very kind of important to infra domain and also to the railway domain. So this really make importance and difference. Although the journey for that point was pretty long, as some of you might know. So it started like 10 years ago. And there was many phases. I wanted to take this old photo or old slide here because I'm not sure that if each of you are familiar or aware of the background. So the extensions for IFC 4.3 was pretty huge. It's covered the bridge, the road, the rail, the ports, and the waterways. And still there is one active project, IFC tunnel, which will be in the next maybe release of the IFC. I'm not sure that if it will be the IFC 5 or IFC 4.4, but we'll see. But we are still working with some of the extension for the infra domain, and the kind of the domains in this new IFC 4.3 standard. We had a very many extension, and as you see in the previous version of IFC, there was mainly only buildings. So although it has been 10 years journey to have this extension to IFC standard, I still think that the delivery time is pretty short if you think about the complexity of this extension, and kind of very understandable that it took 10 years. But this is the past. Then I go to the future part, or what next. So kind of we have this openBIM workflow. So we have, and also the tools supporting the openBIM workflow. Kind of what I'm still hesitating in this picture, it's clear, I fully support it, that someone needs to define the business needs first. But then if you think about the business needs, it's kind of normal that you have the technology, the process, and the people. This is kind of the normal triangle, how you describe the kind of the way to move forward, especially within the digitalization. Then as a technology, we do have the openBIM standards and tools. And in the process part, we do have the openBIM workflow as was presented in the previous slide. But then when I look closer to the people part, so the user needs, the business needs, they are still a little bit as a question mark. It was said today in the presentation in the morning sessions that the technology is not the challenging part here. We do have, the maturity is now enough for the change, but still I think that we are a little bit losing the people here and the end users. And I do have some suggestion or proposal how we might want to move forward together as a community, as a buildingSMART. And that's why I need all of the chapters and members to be part of this. So then kind of what do the users normally want? My day job is in Rumble, which is an engineering organization. And the kind of the users in my market area, which is the transport, they are not talking about the IFC or the openBIM workflow. They want to do the CO2 calculation. They want to do the class detection, maybe have the quantity takeoff or even the asset management. Permitting is mentioned, of course, not in the same way as the building permitting process, but the land use permitting is maybe it has some similarities with the building permitting. And then it's, of course, the purchasing, for example, different type of elements to the construction site. So the end users doesn't speak IFC. And I'm not even sure that if they need to know anything about the IFC, because they just want to do the normal task that they do in every day in the design projects. And then also the fact that in the division, when I coming in my organization, the transport, we use over 500 different software globally. So it's not only like one software that could do all of the task that we want to do. We have the design software, we have the calculation software, and we have all the variety, different type of software between those two. But then if we go back to the user needs, then normally, if we look closely, one of the user needs in the previous slide, the quantity takeoff. Maybe the first question that we need to ask is that what you need to do with the data and why you need the data in the first place. Because normally the quantity takeoff is just one activity, but actually you want to do the bill of quantities, or you need the quantity takeoff to do the CO2 calculation or the cost calculation. And then we are coming back to the question that, okay, if you want to do the cost calculation, what else is needed than the models or the information from the models? Because normally, at least the country where I'm living, the Finland, we do have the cost database for the kind of the cost part of the building parts. And then we do have also the national CO2 emission database for the CO2 emissions. So then it's a question that what part of the information should be in the models and what part of the information might come some other sources. Because I still believe, and I think many of you share the same opinion, that not all the information will be in the kind of BIM models, in the IFC models. So it's a combination of information from different sources. And then when I think about this open BIM workflow or open BIM process, I think that the localization, this was shown one of the session that was held to the domain leaders. So thank you, Richard, Kelly. I just steal with pride the picture from your slides. But the localization, if I'm now thinking putting my infra-domain steering chair of the steering committee hat on, that kind of what domain can do to support these type of activities. So kind of I'm really believe in the use case management, even because kind of if we not start to describe these use cases in the way that the end user can understand them, I'm not sure that do we have anything to bring to the table to enable the communication with the end users. And then when we have those use cases, they can be pretty huge, or then of course they are the smaller one. At the same time, then it's possible to kind of define or require those use cases through IDS, or even put some of these requirements in BSDD. I don't go very deep to these technologies in this presentation because I think that we have many sessions in the summit that go more detailed level within the topic. But then when I go to check the use case management service, and then I put the filters, the infra domain and the use case, we don't have any. There are some use cases referring to infrastructure, but they are done maybe under chapter level or then maybe in the member site. But still, I think that there is the possibility that we haven't been utilizing as much as we could as a community. And I think the future, our vision is more than clear. We need to have the implementation of IFC 4.3. I know that there will come next version of the IFC, even the modernization of the IFC, but currently we have the IFC 4.3 and somehow we need to move forward with the implementation. And even though it will be something else in the future, I still think that these use cases and the IDS are still needed in order to support the implementation of any of the activities that the end users wants to do. And somehow I feel that we still need to improve the knowledge and understanding the needs from the users. So what's actually the core element of the infra-domain business needs? And the only way to move forward is to start with the use cases and put the users to the center. And I believe that kind of we can define this international level use cases in the infra domain that are common enough to support actually the use cases in the global level. And that's kind of the reason that I'm hoping to avoid this in the future, that we don't have any use cases in the use case service and the infra domain, Instead, I would like to challenge all of us, especially chapters and members of buildingSMART International, to work together and utilize openBIM tools like the use case management, IDS and BSDD, but start with the use cases. I know that I have had a conversation with many of the maybe representatives coming from different chapters, and I know that there has been the national development work already done within the use cases with some of the topics. If you have done any national kind of use case description, or if you have some organizational use cases, because I think that even in the presentation in this session, these digital design uses were mentioned. So quite many organizations are working also with these digital design uses, which can see as a use cases. So please bring those to the international forum for knowledge sharing, and it's then possible to use the use case management. Because if we don't have anything, we cannot start the conversation about what should be common and what should be done in the national level. For example, to be able to implement the standards. And I really think, as a chair of the infra domain, that these activities will help us to find and understand what are common use cases in international level, and then what should be done in the national level as the implementation of the standard, because no standard is such that you can just take it to the national level. Normally you have some kind of implementation process that the standard become as a kind of usable in the national level. Then throughout this exercise, we get better understanding where we can use IFC and where we need something else. Because in the infra field, there is also the GIS standards. There is the working group under the infra domain at the moment called BIM GIS. We do have the session later tomorrow about these kind of the working groups. So kind of I think that especially in the infra, IFC is not answer to everything, but we need to have the more reliable visibility that where we can use IFC and where we need to use some other standard. And also the software vendors plays very important role here. So kind of, I think that through this use case description, we also kind of help to create the implementation instruction to the software vendor, how to implement IFC 4.3 at the moment, and it could be something else in the future. But at the moment, I think that we don't have maybe clear enough understanding of all the use cases that have been created, because we don't have anything in the platform in the way that they can be used to be able to create the consensus in the international level. So this, I think, are the action points that help us. So I still repeat my main message. So please, if you in the chapter level or in the member level, you work with these use cases, just please bring those use cases to the knowledge of the international community, to buildingSMART. So then we can start the conversation for harmonization and how to move forward in the future. That was my presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tiina. It's a great message. So this concludes our session. Thank you for your attention. There will be a 30-minute break starting now.